And we are back with another episode, and joining me today is Ken Presse. How's it going?
It's going all right, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, trying to catch up with life. You know, we had a big
Good.
big
Yeah.
festival here, so just catching up with all that. So, um, for starters, for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
So I'm based out of Montreal. I've kind of always been surrounded by music. My first instrument was the violin when I was 6. That lasted about 6 months before I gave it up.
Yeah.
But I'm named after Kenny Rogers.
Nice.
So a lot of country music growing up. And then, I guess I started playing in bands as a teenager quite a bit. Then teaching, giving like guitar lessons. And from there, funny enough, my first real paying gig in music other than teaching was musicals. So like off-Broadway musicals in Montreal and in New York. A little bit different, when you're in the pit sort of thing, like there's the actors on stage and you're like in this pit. So that was a cool experience. I did that for 2-3 years and then slowly started playing with artists in Montreal, like R&B, pop. They're at the time, now there's kind of a wave of country coming through the city, but at the time it was very, like it was pop, R&B, rock.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really find a country band to play with. So I started doing that, playing bar gigs, some venues, and then slowly but surely, I got a gig with a band called the Franklin Electric.
Right.
It's like an indie folk rock band.
Yep.
Still with them. We just played a gig yesterday, actually.
Nice.
Like just north of Quebec City. That's it, man. I'm producing a whole lot, writing for artists. Spent a lot of time in Nashville writing for myself and for others, working with some Nashville artists. It's been a whole journey.
Love it. And you so you still play for Franklin Electric, but so what made you decide to start releasing your own music?
It's crazy, man. COVID. Like this whole pandemic kind of reshifted. Well, I guess not reshifted. It's since I was a kid, I wanted to do a solo project.
Yeah.
So, but we get so busy, we get so into our own worlds, we kind of forget our dreams sometimes.
Right.
And so I hadn't taken a vacation in years, and my girlfriend hates me for it, but I hadn't taken a vacation in years. And finally COVID, with the first lockdown, the first 2 weeks, I didn't work. Like I didn't do anything. And that's when it hit me. And I started to remember, I'm like, man, what about that idea you had of like doing your own project? And that's when I started recording songs. I have a studio at home, so I started recording songs and sent it to a few people, and people were like, dude, that's pretty good. Like, you should try to do something with it.
Yeah.
And here we are today, and I've got like 15 songs recorded, only released one up to now, but I've been spending a lot of time on it, and man, it's been the greatest thing. Because, when you're writing for other artists or producing for other artists here, you're helping them kind of accomplish their vision.
Right.
You're like there to enable them and like be like, okay, like what do you see? What are you hearing? What do you want to write? And that's a great feeling to write for somebody to produce, and then you hear the song on the radio or they're having fun playing it at a gig, and it's like, man, that was cool. We had a great time doing that.
Absolutely.
But when you're doing it for you, it's like, okay, well, it's all up to me, man. What's my vision? What do I want to do?
Right.
And that's it. And the song that actually I released May 14th.
Yeah.
Was written in Nashville with Eric Etheridge.
Nice.
And a buddy of mine, Mario Tolero.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, okay, so obviously it feels good. How does it feel to release your own material?
Yeah, it's strange, because you're like, you have this thought in your head that like you're gonna release this tune, and then everyone's gonna be like, oh, that's who Ken is as an artist. That's who you are, Right. It's like, no, that when you record one song, it's like taking a picture. It's a photograph of that moment in time. So the day I wrote it, or the day or two, it actually took us a while to write this. The first single, it took us like 2-3 days. But the days that you wrote it, and then the days you spent in studio, it's just a reflection of those days. It's not necessarily who you are in the big picture of things, because you could record that same song or 2 months later, it wouldn't have come out the same way.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of accepting the fact that like, this is just a photograph of that period of my life.
All right. So someone who hasn't heard your music before, how would you describe your sound?
Well, I guess that's coming from a lot of different backgrounds, playing in an indie folk band, loving country music, obviously, and, you know, starting with the violin. So I listen to a lot of classical music. And loving pop music too, like top 40. Like I'll still listen to Justin Bieber. Like that stuff's pretty good sometimes. So, you know, coming from like all these different backgrounds and working as a musician, it's really, to me, an amalgamation of all those experiences in music.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your single, Thing About You. You wrote it with a few people, so tell us all about it and how it all came together.
So at the time I was in a country band called Delta Creek.
Okay.
With a couple, the singer was Patrick Lehman, who's like an R&B singer in Montreal, and the drummer Mario Tolero, who's a session drummer in the city. And we started a country band called Delta Creek. We went down to Nashville, started writing. So when we wrote this song, The Thing About You, it was actually a little bit more for Delta Creek. And then even at one point during the writing session, Eric was like, I might keep this song. Like, well, it depends who records it first, Eric.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, we didn't really know who we were writing for at the end of the day. You know, throughout that writing session, the line got a bit blurred, and we just kept writing, and we realized that, you know, we've all had that one relationship that the memories just really stuck with us. You know, I've been with my girlfriend for 8 years now. We're super happy, but there's always that past relationship that you're like, I wonder how she's doing. Like life could have been different, you know?
Yep. Absolutely. Awesome. And what was your tell us your experience with writing with Eric and like all the co-writers that are a part of it. What was your favorite experience with all that?
Oh, co-writing's the best, man.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get into it when I was younger. And then once you get with these experienced people, it's just, man, it's the greatest thing, because there's no what's it called? There's no ego involved. Like
Right.
No one's trying to push their lines or their melody or their lyrics. Everyone's there to create the best song. So there's been writing sessions where I've walked in and I wrote nothing. Like I just didn't have it that day. And other sessions where I wrote almost the whole song, but it doesn't matter. You know, you're just there to create together. And it's like someone could just throw out a word and you're like, oh man, okay, I got the whole phrase. I got it. You know, and it just off of that one word that inspired you. And so I think, yeah, writing with Eric was one of the longer writes I've had. And it was, so it was the first day we did 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
We thought we finished the song, and then we sent each other an email. We're like, hey, what'd you think of this line? It's like, well, maybe we'll get together another quick time just to fix a couple lines, which isn't unusual. But then that session lasted 3-4 hours. Then it was the same thing over. It's like, well, what if we get together one more time just to fix a couple more lines? And yeah, at the end of the day, that's what we got. But, you know, some writing sessions could last an hour and a half. You really never know.
Yeah, that's true. And this single's available on all platforms?
Yeah.
Awesome. And so you got past experiences, all that kind of stuff, but where do you mostly find your inspiration when writing?
No, I just think it could be the smallest things, like life experiences. I could be on a hike staring at a tree, and all of a sudden, man, you're just inspired. It could be you draw from past life experiences, from relationships, from you know, from your own, you know, you kind of have this inner voice where you talk to yourself.
Right.
And sometimes I write songs about that inner voice.
Okay.
You know, that you just, man, you do, you know, some tunes, it's like you try to be a good person, you got to do the right thing, you got to, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And what is the weirdest most awkward way you've ever come up with a song? Is there a moment you writing with people and you're kind of like, that's weird, but let's write about it kind of thing?
weirdest way I've ever come up with a song.
Yeah, has there been a moment in your life that's happened where you're like, I can't believe that happened, but that's a song?
Okay, well, the first time I got a lawn tractor, I wrote a song about it because I was so excited to finally have a lawn tractor. I mean, I don't know that I'll ever put the song out,
Yeah.
but it's written.
Okay, that is a weird moment, I would say.
That's it. I think it could be. You never know; it might come out.
I have to hear it now. I almost need to hear it. That's
Yeah, let me tell you, I wasn't very good on a lawn tractor my first time, but I got the hang of it now.
Yeah, you got the hang of it. Perfect. All right. I want to talk about your music video for your single because like we were talking earlier, I love this video. You have like the whole you're in the dark and you're watching kind of like the past relationship that had happened. Tell us kind of the whole creative side of this whole video.
Yeah, well, that's it. We were talking about it before we came on, and I had this grand idea of doing a split screen in a bunch of different locations, because the point is, okay, it's a breakup, and I wanted to show that, of course, when you break up with someone, you know, sometimes you're walking down the street and there's a person that walks by and you're like, oh, is that her? Is that her? You constantly see the person, everything you do, you pick up a fork and it's like, remember how she used to pick up a fork? Like the smallest things, just everything reminds you of her. So I kind of wanted to play on that and say, okay, I'm sitting there and just those memories are playing in my head. And so I wanted to do it in a bunch of locations, like get a bar downtown. And of course, with the pandemic, it's a lot harder to film in a bunch of different locations. Finally, the director is like, dude, you're talking about like tens of thousands of dollars for this video. He's like, you need to like focus in. He's like, I like the split screen. Let's do that. So finally, it ended up being in one location. And I love the simplicity of it. At the end, the guy did a great job.
It turned out super good. Like like I said earlier, it was probably one of the videos where I was like, wow, this is super good. Like I love the vibe of it all. Everything.
Nice. Thank you.
So no, it's great. What would you say has been the best advice that you've been given in your career up to this point?
I would say, like, I think, and it's something I was told, and now I often tell people, is that you got to realize that in music, there's so many incredibly talented people. The one thing that's going to separate you from the rest is like, how bad do you want it? How hard are you willing to work? You know, you look at Instagram, you look at Facebook, and it's like videos of artists like fishing, having fun, going for hikes. And it's like, sure, that's happening. But in between that, and they've worked incredibly hard to get to that point. So I think any young artist I meet or that I meet or that I get to work with, that's the first thing. It's like, just keep working, put your head down and keep going.
Yeah, don't give up. Patience was the one I was told.
Yeah. Well, that too, you need a lot of it. And you know, you got to accept that you're promised things sometimes. It's like, oh yeah, this is totally going to happen. And you get all excited and then it doesn't happen. There's a lot of that, you know?
A lot of it.
Until you're on that stage, until you're whatever's happening, until it's happening, just keep cool and ride that wave.
It'll come. That's
it.
Absolutely. Okay. Do we have any shows lined up that people can look forward to for just your
right now? Yeah, right now we're trying to focus on the EP.
Okay.
So especially with, like, we did a show, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Yeah. I think something like that, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where we actually filmed an acoustic version of The Thing About You.
Okay.
So that'll come out pretty soon, and it was super trippy, man. Like, we were in the Laurentians, so like north of Montreal, where there's all the ski hills.
Yeah.
And just on this small stage with a forest backdrop, and the guy who owns that piece of land just put lights all in the trees. So we filmed at night, and the whole forest was lit up.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really a cool experience, and for a small crowd, it was pretty neat. So we filmed it and recorded it. I just finished the mix for it today, actually.
Yeah.
And so that should come out in a couple weeks, I think.
Perfect.
And other than that, just gonna focus on the EP, try to narrow down I don't know if I said this while we were recording, but like I've got a good bunch of songs, I think about 15 songs demoed. So it's time to narrow that down.
Absolutely.
Find the right sound.
When are you expecting to maybe release the full EP?
I think 2021 for sure.
20,
We're aiming for that.
2022?
No, 2021. Like before, like what year are we?
Or 2021.
Yeah, that's it. So this year. Yeah. This year.
Okay.
That's what I meant. I was like, dude, did I really say the wrong year? You got me.
2021. I was like, we're in 2021.
You got me a bit nervous. So yeah, this year.
Okay, this year. Okay. Awesome. Do you have like a specific month date?
Later this year.
Okay.
I think not quite December, because December, I mean, I love listening to Christmas music, so
Yeah.
I'm not listening to too many new records. So hopefully before December.
Okay, sounds good. Perfect. Yeah, I was like, does he mean 2022? I was like,
no, but you know what's funny, man, is that I tend to forget my years. That's why I was like, wait, what year is it? Right. Okay, cool.
oh, that's funny. Awesome. All right. What else is next for you? Obviously, you have the EP coming up.
Yeah.
Anything else you have on the go? You have the other band?
Yeah, working with a couple artists, writing. Looking forward to go back to Nashville. I'm supposed to be working on a EP down there,
okay.
But we don't know what's going on, man.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about Nashville? I keep asking this to everyone because I've never been, so I need some tips.
You know, the first thing that blew me away about Nashville that I never saw in any other city, and it's not so much a tip. I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer that question, apparently. No, but the first thing that blew me away, man, is going down there. You walk into any open mic, and you see like a 14-year-old girl, like an older gentleman, whatever. Just people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Go up there at that open mic, little thing, just a couple people in the crowd. And they're like the greatest singers you've ever heard.
Interesting.
It's like, dude, I mean, no offense to Montreal. Montreal is great artists, but you go to an open mic and it's like there's great people, there's not so good. Like it's, you know,
up and down.
It's just people having fun too. That's great.
Yeah.
But you walk in there and it's like, you're like literally all better than me. And so when I walked in, I was like, I need to go home and practice because
what's happening here?
Yeah, that's it. So I would say, man, if you can go to as many like little, you know, sure, you could go check out the cool shows in the theaters, but you go to like any open mic in some smaller bar and it's really enjoyable.
It's always a good time.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, man. Last thing for those who don't know, where can they find you on social media?
So social media is just my name at Ken Presse, KenPressc. And then, yeah, that's it. Facebook, Instagram, and the songs on all platforms.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, go grab his new single, The Thing About You, and make sure you check out the video. I'll have the link down below because it's a good video. So, Ken, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thank you so much, man.
And yeah, let's keep in touch. And if I come out east, I'll definitely hit you up.
Perfect, for sure.
We'll go from there. All right, man. Well, take care. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Cheers, bud. Thanks.
See ya.